Ultimately, you end up with a portfolio that's diversified by design, not by fear. Stop. Everything you've been told about diversification is wrong. In the investing world, there are two main goals. There's getting wealthy and staying wealthy. Both are equally important, but they require vastly different strategies. If you've been throwing your money across hundreds of stocks, hoping that something sticks, it's time to rethink everything. Traditional finance YouTube channels keep echoing the same advice about diversification. Spread your money thin. But what if I told you you could enjoy the upside of a focused portfolio while still protecting yourself from catastrophic risk? You would have fewer losers dragging down your good investments, but you'd also avoid putting all your eggs in one basket. So here's the problem with over diversification, right? When you have the S&P 500, the S&P 500 typically grows at about 10% a year. But here's the kicker. That 10% is often just the true rate of inflation and the cost of living. In other words, you're taking market risk to basically stand still or get a tiny little bump above true real inflation. So it's barely enough to call growth. Meanwhile, the average single stock might grow at about 25 to 35% annually over the course of 20 years. But if that is your whole portfolio, you have incredible returns, but you're not diversified, and you run the risk of one of those companies going under. That's risky. Now, if you take these 35% growth companies and you create a basket of 500 of them, that's the S&P 500. It's the top performing companies, but the reality is it's 100 really good performing companies diluted with 400 losers. And this is what we call safety. This is insanity. Is this really the best way to diversify? Or are we just watering down the winners to barely keep pace with inflation? So you need a mindset shift. Stop thinking of your investments like a scattered shopping list. Think of them like a business. When starting a business, you focus on one idea at a time. Laser beam focus, intense research, and unshakable conviction. Once that business is thriving, you consider the next one. So why should investing be any different? After all, you would be investing in businesses. So I'm not a financial advisor. This video is not financial advice. This is literally just my opinion, man. So I'm going to get started with what I call the tower strategy. So find an investment that you truly love, that you're passionate about, and it can be super high risk. The younger you are, take all the risk, all right? And I call this building up tower number one. So pick something that you have high conviction in, something that you want to learn about, something you want to keep learning about. And this can be a stock, this can be a project, this can be an asset, and this is something that you deeply believe in. Pour your research and energy and capital into a single investment. But we're only going to be actively accumulating this for 5 to 7 years. This is enough time to have ups and downs to accumulate this and to learn about it. So while other people get shaken out of the investment, you can accumulate. So once you're finally content with your sizable holding after 5 to 7 years of accumulating, close the chapter. All right? Close the chapter. Consider that your first business. You invested everything into a company that you truly believed in. Close that book. Don't sell it. Don't touch it. Don't do anything. Whether you're up or down, doesn't matter. Move on. We're now building tower number 2. After your first tower is established, you want to move on to the second investment. You want to bring the same level of focus, energy, and conviction, but because you're now a little bit older and more time has passed, maybe choose something just a little less risky as you get older, and your portfolio should be a little bit larger than when you started, right? So you want to repeat this, and each new tower, each new interest adds a layer of diversification and potential growth without watering down every single return. So over time, your portfolio naturally becomes diversified into several strong, solid towers, each building wealth, built with laser beam precision. And just a side note, I would consider a good investment would be something that you truly understand, something that if the price falls 90%, you don't panic sell. Instead, you dig deeper, refine your strategy, learn from the experience, and even holding it to zero can be more educational than a lifetime of jumping in and out of stocks without conviction. Because the lessons you learn from tower number 1, whether you made money or lost money, will be applicable to tower number 2. So as you get older, or as your first tower becomes more stable, each new investment, each new tower can be more conservative. That way, you're balancing risk differently at every stage of your investment journey. Ultimately, you end up with a portfolio that's diversified by design, not by fear. So the next time someone tells you to throw your money at everything under the sun, remember, over-diversification might be the enemy of extraordinary returns. Focus, conviction, and strategic tower building can protect your downside and unleash your upside. Change your mindset. Stop scattering your seeds. Build one tower at a time and watch your empire grow. Alright, I don't do outros,